Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. And as the nation and the world has now become aware through the news, social media, you name it, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, after a lengthy battle of several years with cancer, has finally died. And I just want to say out of the gates, this is not going to be a bash piece on Ruth Bader Ginsburg. In fact, I would have to claim ignorance on a lot of her stances. I know how the media's framed it, and they've kind of framed her whole career, her livelihood, as her Supreme Court seat for the last couple of years. And, I don't know what was in this woman's heart, especially at the end, whether or not she wanted to keep doing these types of things and, kind of be on tour and this public figure for so long up until her death. But instead of retiring from the Supreme Court and allowing her seat to be given to somebody who was appointed by Trump, she stuck it out to the very end. And that brings us to now. In an already politically fire-charged year where so much is going on and everything is so bizarre right now. For instance, I became aware of this yesterday, guys, as I was watching Trump live in Minnesota, right? I got these 4 monitors. I'm constantly trying to keep a beat on everything. And I saw that RBG and Ruth Bader Ginsburg were both trending and what they were trending with. Because we've had these false alarms. And let's not forget the kind of delusion that was out there amongst the fantasists. And you know who you are and you know who they are, who were literally hashtagging where's RBG all over the place. Where's Ruth Bader Ginsburg? Remember that conspiracy theory that went around? That she'd already been dead and, they were hiding her. And I was always so skeptical, and they would infiltrate my comment section. You see, when it actually happens, guys, there's really no way to hide it because she's been a staple of the establishment and this system for so long. So obviously with this political football, right, Trump gets asked after the fact about it, doesn't know about it while he's giving his speech, and he keeps it really short and smart. Again, anyone who's telling you that this is the idiot prince and he doesn't know what he's doing, you're not paying attention. He keeps it very short. You can see in his face that it's actually genuine, that he is learning for the first time that she's died. He actually physically backs up, just kind of gives a one-liner, and then walks away respectfully. Now, in contrast to that, okay, to immediately make it political, Joe Biden comes out. And you guys can all watch this. Maybe we'll do it live. I don't know. I haven't made that decision yet because there's a lot to kind of go over here. But he's reading off a piece of paper what to say about her and what to say about the situation. And of course, what to say about the situation is that the seat should not be filled until the new president is elected. Well, the Trump administration has come out today already and said that they will fill the seat. And it's so weird because the timeline, although it's very, how do I say this, close in whether or not, they could actually be confirmed and become a Supreme Justice, it really is on par. Like you look at Kavanaugh, and even with all these scandals, et cetera, it was about 90 days, right? And if you look at this now, we're in September 19th today, and we would still be December 19th to be after the election, but before, the president actually changes. So you can bet there's going to be a huge battle over this. It's going to be the big next media talking point. We're going to go through all of it, who the short list of names are. One, Grandpa Munster is going to surprise you, but maybe not. But we'll get to all of it. Thumbs the video up, subscribe and share the information with people, ring that bell for notifications, or just star the thing. Bookmark it, check back every day. We do it several times a day. 3 to 7 times a day is my motto. Sometimes it's just 2. We haven't done 7 in a while, but you are getting 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 videos a day for free. So if you can support me $5, $10, $15, it means the world to me. We've been fully demonetized here for 5+ months. So without you, it would be absolutely impossible to continue with this. Remember, in the playlist section, you can check out all my documentary films. They're right there. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. And if you haven't made your free Rockfin account yet, I implore you to do so, because Rockfin's going to become such a bigger part of this show. Again, once we are out in Iowa in the beginning of the month from 11 to 1 Eastern Time, we will be live on Rockfin for free. So you will need a membership, okay? And then if you want to go premium and pay for one, you'll be able to watch the whole show after it streams live, but we will be putting up certain segments at YouTube. And since, we get done by 11 to 1, we'll probably be doing, the same thing where things go up at both Rockfin and YouTube, at least if they don't kick me off the platform. But here we go. Let's do it. Oh, of course. Thanks, CNN. Why don't we just get that right out of there? McConnell vows Trump's nominee to replace Ginsburg will get Senate vote, setting up historic fight. And from every single angle, they do not want Trump to pick the next judge. And let's talk about this, because, again, the media is going to frame it, and already are framing it. And that's the thing. Listen, I don't know much about this woman personally, right? I'll tell you this. I was never really a fan of Scalia. I think so. I think some of the things that, these judges have been involved with, obviously, especially with the Patriot Act and the AUMF, right? The Military Authorization Act, all that stuff is criminal. But at the same time, when I look at this, right, this woman, got a fake farewell, because everything is about this right-left paradigm. And the big fear point is they're going to take away Roe versus Wade and you're not going to be able to get an abortion. That's the big fear point. And, it's a touchy subject, obviously, for a lot of people. Because if you don't think that there are these people that present themselves or are Republicans or conservatives that have abortions in their life or aren't pro-abortion, I think you'd be fooling yourself. I think there's more of a mesh than you think. And on the same end, if you think that all people that vote left, would have abortions in their life, I think that you'd be mistaken there, right? Obviously, that's the party that promotes that sort of thing, and Planned Parenthood, etc. I personally, that's not a battle I want to fight in my own life. There's no way that's a decision I would make. And I think it's almost criminal, if not criminal, that if I as a man get somebody pregnant, I literally have no say. They don't even have to tell me it happens. That's the craziness of this world. But that's the big fear point, right? So now the Democrats, the left, whatever you want to call it, are in a panic. This is going to go to all sorts of courts. You're already seeing the reason why Trump might delay replacing Ginsburg. And Politico is instead of just outright saying that we're going to take you to court and there's no way we're going to let this happen, are saying, maybe you should just back off. This will make this is how you get your base to support you. It's the only way to guarantee earning their support. But despite all of that, okay, Trump says he's obligated to nominate the Supreme Court replacement for RBG without delay, and thanks Democrat Harry Reid for handing the court to conservatives by eliminating the 60-vote Senate requirement. So, again, there's this hype around Orange Man Bad, the evil villain. Well, who will he pick? Now, again, the media is going to talk about Ted Cruz and Tom Cotton a lot, right? They're going to be the big ones. But the truth is that there's also Amy Coney Barrett I don't know anything about. So I'm not going to postulate that I do. But I can tell you this about Cruz and Cotton. All right? Ted Cruz, I would say he's somewhere in between, your basic neocon and Rand Paul. Okay? I know that doesn't make a lot of sense. He's certainly in foreign policy an interventionalist. A fearmonger across the board on terrorism, etc. However, in civil liberties at home, freedom of speech at home, and even making points about big tech, he's been relatively good. I mean, compared to the trash that's out there, I'm not giving my endorsement to Ted Cruz. I want to make that abundantly clear. But again, we look at every angle here. Okay, there's a lot I don't like about Ted Cruz. Tom Cotton, very similar in that regard. Again, it is going to postulate that we need to be in the Middle East, all these things. But at the same time, you know, he was one of the first people to kind of sound the alarm pre-March about the coronavirus and how it would be coming here. And he was one of the only ones to kind of postulate this could come from a lab. And he talked about the Lancet study. Now, whether or not you want to say that that's kind of a setup for this new China narrative, that's up to you. I've told you how I feel about that. We don't know what lab this came from. We don't even know how it was truly seeded. We don't know if it's the same thing, right? We're not really even allowed to postulate that we think that it might be some kind of biological agent in a lab unless we also source the fact that the CCP said it was a bioweapon. We source the fact that Pompeo and that crew has said that no, it probably leaked out of a lab in Wuhan and they covered it up. And that there is more and more and more mainstream evidence out there that somehow, some way, this is not natural, right? And I never have thought it was. So that's where I'm at with Cotton. That's where I'm at with Cruz. They're pretty big names in politics right now. And on top of that, you know, Ted Cruz is saying, fill that seat. Otherwise, we could have a constitutional crisis on Election Day. And yes, let's bring it into the election beyond just Biden stuttering on a piece of paper. You know, we're going to have to play that live, but let's talk about this. Right now, with everything being war-gamed and what's happening, Trump looks like he's winning by a landslide. Okay? If anything was fair without these mail-ins, right now they're talking about Trump being 10 points behind in Minnesota to Joe Biden. Okay, I just saw thousands of people out on a tarmac for the man yesterday. Now, I can believe my eyes. I can believe my ears. I can have a sense of what's going on around me and think to myself that maybe half the population in this country or more doesn't want mask mandates or to lock it down again, Joey B. You're not even Joey B anymore, Zombie Joe. And you tell me that Biden goes there and he gets half the crowd. Not even close. Well, they got a social distance, you know. Biden's a fragile old man. What? Why are you running a fragile old man? So, you know what? I'm going to, we do it, throw it, thumbs up. We do it live here. I want people to see this. All right, so let's do it. Where are we going here? Biden comments on RBG. Okay, and let's just go over here to the video section and we'll watch it because it's sad.
Cared for her and care about her. And she practiced the highest American ideals as justice, equality, and justice under the law. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg stood for all of us. As I said, she was a beloved figure. As a young attorney, you all know the story. She persisted, overcoming a lot of obstacles for a woman who was practicing law in those days, as well as she continued until she moved herself in a position where she could end up changing the law of the land or leading the effort to provide.
Said she 5 times there. Barely got out obstacle. Is reading off a piece of paper. This is a man who's in government 40 plus years. Okay? If he can't talk off the cuff on, you know, a Supreme Court justice from his party, how are they saying he can run for president? Let's just play the whole thing.
Equality for women in every field. And she led in the advance of equal rights for women. It's hard to believe, but it was my honor to preside over her confirmation hearing. I got to meet her at the time, and she, in her ascension to the Supreme Court. In the decade since, she has been absolutely consistent and reliable and a voice for freedom and opportunity for everyone. And, you know, she never failed. She was fierce and unflinching in her pursuit of the civil and legal rights of civil rights of everyone. Her opinions and her dissent are going to continue to shape the basis for a law for a generation. And you know, tonight and in the coming days, we should focus on the loss of her justice and her enduring legacy. But there is no doubt, let me be clear, that the voters should pick the president, and the president should pick the justice for the Senate to consider. This was the position of the Republican Senate took in 2016 when there were almost 10 months to go before the election. That's the position the United States Senate must take today, and the election is only 46 days off. I think the fastest justice ever confirmed was 47 days, and the average is closer to 70 days. And so we should do this with full consideration, and that is my hope and expectation what will happen. Thank you all, and I'm sorry we had to learn it on a plane ride, but thank you very much.
Mr. Bond, how did you find out about her death?
No questions, right? So that's 3 minutes. That's actually pretty good for him. Pretty good. But did you notice that he had to read everything in a prepared statement about Ginsburg? But then at the very end, that's kind of where he perked up a bit and knew his talking points. That, well, the fastest we've ever done it was, a little under 50 days, right? And again, we're talking about terms. And, the longest the process has taken, he said, like we talked about, is 90 days. So no matter what, whether Trump won or lost the election, he would still be in office. So it looks like he's going to pump this through. They've made it completely political. Joe Biden's not taking questions because he probably, honestly, can't remember much about her. Okay? If somebody were to ask him what his biggest personal moment with her was, he might start talking about Corn Pop. We were with Corn Pop this one time. My bad dude friend ran with a bunch of bad boys. And me and Ruth Bader Ginsburg were on our way to Nam with Corn Pop. I mean, he just make up a scenario because he has no idea what's going on. He can barely read. So there you go, guys. That's my take on it. Once again, I want to remind everybody to thumbs the video up, subscribe, share, and let people know about this channel. Find a video and then share that video individually in a DM for somebody that needs real information. $5, $10, $15, it means the world to me. Without you guys, I couldn't do this. Please consider donating. The GoFundMe is down below. That's how we're doing it. We're fully demonetized here. As I've stated before, go check out the documentary films. They're in the playlist section. By the way, if you want a schooling on what's actually going on and has gone on with the Anthony Weiner laptop, please go watch my latest video on it. Because there's some people already in the comments section, no offense, but with utter ignorance, and didn't watch the video and didn't understand how I described what they were going to post in mass was utter ignorance anyway. And if you want to know what that utter ignorance is, it's very simple. Those who believe a bunch of NYPD officers who saw the Anthony Weiner laptop are confirmed to have committed suicide or died on the job have no idea what they're talking about. That is imagination land. That is a fairy tale. That is not correct. You would do better to stick to the facts that are already extremely alarming. And I point those facts out in the video. But Jason, what do you mean? I thought they held a press conference. No one held a press conference. There is one article in the Gateway Pundit that reveals none of the names of the officers. Okay? Now, if you follow me on Twitter and you watch this show, you might know about a guy named Big Fish, @TreyBillion. He does great research. If anybody has done any really good research on the police officers that are at least aware of the laptop and possibly know what's on it and possibly have seen it, it is he. And none of the names that he has researched now for, I think, over 2 years and put out there easily, okay, are of these officers. So again, we do ourselves no service by promoting disinformation and misinformation when you now have an FBI whistleblower who, again, if you read the Inspector General report and you understood the gravity of the situation and why the Hillary and Huma Abedin emails were excused from investigation, you would know about. He's now speaking out 4 years later. That's a big development. Okay, John Robertson, that's a big development. That's a real one. So please go check that video out too, and follow me on Twitter. Like I said, check out the documentary films. Make the free Rockfin account. Make the free Rockfin account. Make the free Rockfin account. We're going to continue to expand, and Rockfin's going to be the place to do it. And if we're kicked off of this platform, that's where I'm going to be. So guys, I love you. Thank you for joining me on this one, and I'll see you on the flip side.